Did you know that Philips, the company who invented the cassette tape all the way back in 1963, still sells a brand new cassette recorder today in 2026? Probably not, because this model is not sold in Western markets. Countries where it is sold include China, Russia, the Philippines, and Singapore. But if you are interested in this cassette recorder, stay tuned because it turns out there is an easy and inexpensive way to get the same thing here in the US. The box says Philips Cassette Player 5000 series. The exact model number is TAR5109. I assume the TAR stands for Tape Audio Recorder because in addition to cassette player, they make it clear that it is a recorder as well. It also features USB playback and TF playback. TF being another name for what most people call micro SD cards. There is that exact model number on the side of the box, and lest you think this is some kind of knockoff, it has the official Philips holographic sticker of authenticity. And the top of the box has the old-fashioned Philips Shield logo on it. However, the bottom of the box spills the beans because, as you might have already guessed, this product is not actually manufactured by Philips. Instead, it's made by a company called MMD Hong Kong Holding Limited, which since 2018 has had the exclusive license to manufacture audio and video products and accessories under the Philips name. So this cassette recorder is manufactured for Philips under license in China. And inside the box we see a brand new, still sealed cassette recorder. It has a USB cable, and underneath it is some documentation, probably all in Chinese. The owner's manual is entirely in Chinese, so that's not much help to me, but it does have some specifications in here which I was able to get translated into English, and it says the output power through the speaker is 1.3 watts and the playback frequency response is 100 Hz to 10 kHz. The guarantee statement does have some English in it, but the fine print says this guarantee card is valid in China and probably not anywhere else. And then it has this little thing which must be some sort of quality control certification. And here's the big reveal of the product itself. A brand new cassette recorder. Still has the clear protective film on the window with the Philips logo on it. Now let's get the money shot. And checking for signs of quality, does the door have soft eject? Yes, and just the right amount of dampening too. It doesn't slam open with a thud, nor does it take forever to slowly open. Right at the front, it has a built-in microphone as well as the typical tape transport controls: record, play, fast rewind, which is an odd way to put it, fast forward, stop/eject, and pause. And in the middle of the top, right above the cassette door, is a similar set of controls for the TF card and USB playback and recording. Play and pause, track skip backwards and reverse if you hold it down, track skip forwards and forward seek, recording, and a folder button. And towards the rear of the top is a generously sized 3-inch built-in speaker and a badge which says Portable Recorder and Cassette Player. Portable as in it has the customary pull-out carrying handle, although it's rather flimsy plastic. On the left side is the USB port and micro SD card slot for playing and recording MP3 files. I think it supports WMA playback as well, as if anybody still cares about that. Then there's the headphone jack and microphone input jack, which is strangely colored yellow. Usually a microphone input is colored pink or red. And a switch to select either a USB or TF card or the tape deck. On the right side is a volume control and a USB-C port which is only for supplying power. There is no audio functionality through this port. There is a battery compartment on the bottom, but instead of some kind of rechargeable lithium-ion battery in there, It just has your 4 standard alkaline C-cell batteries. You could use rechargeable nickel-metal hydride C-cell batteries, but to charge them, you would need to take them out and use a separate battery charger. Also inside the battery compartment is a serial number beginning with 2508. So this one was most likely made in August 2025. And completing our exterior tour is the manufacturer information sticker, which has the Philips logo on it, but the rest of the text is in Chinese. So let's slip a cassette into the tape compartment with the gold tinted window and try it out. Playing through the built-in speaker.
How much is your time worth? $100 an hour? $300 an hour? If your answer is $500 an hour, then you'll spend $83 worth of time listening to this 10-minute tape.
Poor office managers also have some things in common. They're generally disliked and avoided. Their office staff ridicules them, they're undependable and inconsistent, and they're often described as the biggest mistake this company ever made.
For its intended application of playing voice recordings, that built-in speaker actually sounds really good. Now how about a direct hookup? There's just one catch. Because this is a mono recorder, when you plug in stereo headphones, the sound is out of phase. Luckily, a 3.5mm mono to stereo adapter easily and inexpensively solves the problem. Of course, the sound won't actually be stereo, but it at least will come through both channels equally and in proper phase.
Welcome to How to Write Better Memos, Reports, and Letters, a presentation of GH Publications. We're glad you could be with us. You'll be listening to Rick McTague, a skilled presenter and expert on techniques of powerful business writing.
And while these shoebox-style cassette recorders were designed primarily for voice, there's nothing stopping you from using them to play music.
Macintosh tapes don't stand for nothing. Can't get my files out of the wires, and everything that was before is right protected.
In a box I was sure I could find if I saw it was the documentation of a childhood misled. And I don't think I can fake it because it took so long to make it, and I'll never have that Macintosh again.
Looking in the cassette door, we see the typical Tanishin clone mechanism, which shouldn't be too surprising for this class of cassette recorder. It does have auto stop during playback and recording, but not during fast forwarding or rewinding. And the recording erase head is a permanent magnet, but again, that's the norm for shoebox style cassette recorders since basically forever. For example, here is a Telerecorder 470, probably from the late 1980s if I had to guess. And hey, look at that, the mechanism in it is virtually 100% identical to the brand new one made today. And as you'd expect, the Philips has a mono tape head. To test the MP3 playback, I have a USB drive with 2 folders on it, one containing an audiobook and another containing music. So I'll just stick that in and turn it on to USB mode. And here it is playing the music, and I can hold down the button and it seeks forward, it seeks backwards, and we can skip tracks. But I'm not sure of the purpose of this folder button, because if I push it or hold it down while playing, it does nothing. And if I pause the audio playback and then push it and hold it, the light flashes, but then we're still playing the music. But it is recognizing the contents of the multiple folders, because if I seek forward a few tracks,
this has been Something Like Summer, written by
we're
Jay
now
Bell,
in the audiobook.
narrated by Kevin R.
So it is supporting
Like
multiple
Summer,
folders, but I don't know what this button does. Digitizing a cassette is as simple as inserting a USB drive or micro SD card, then pushing and holding this recording button up here while you're playing the tape.
The entire staff here at New Norris Chevrolet would like to thank you for your purchase. When you drive a New Norris Chevrolet, you're driving the best.
Now if I switch over to USB mode,
The entire staff here at New Norris
there's the
Chevrolet
playback
would like to
that I
thank
just
you.
digitized from this tape.
Drive a New Norris Chevrolet, you're driving the best.
In USB mode, it can also serve as a voice recorder by speaking into the built-in microphone while recording.
With your purchase,
In USB mode, it can also serve as a voice recorder by speaking into the built-in microphone while recording. It saves the recordings in a folder named JL_rec. They have a bit rate of 128 kilobits per second and a sampling rate of 32 kilohertz, neither of which is CD quality, but is adequate for mono recordings made from cassette tapes. But the strange thing is, even though it saves the files with the extension MP3, they're actually MP2 files, MPEG Audio Layer 2. But that shouldn't cause any problems because all ISO-compliant MP3 players are also backwards compatible with MP2 and even MP1 files. And the important thing is, they sound fine.
with your purchase, you should have received an owner's manual, a warranty book, a maintenance schedule, an extra set of keys, and a full tank of gas. Our management team and sales staff make every effort to make sure you have a thorough understanding of how your new Chevrolet operates. But if a question arises once you're home, don't hesitate to call.
And now the folder button actually works to switch between the recordings this device makes and the rest of the files on the card.
With your purchase, you should have received...
So this button must specifically look for that JLREC folder it creates. For recording to tape, you can use the built-in microphone, but it's not the best quality because it's just this little tiny pinhole. And while an old-fashioned dynamic tape recorder microphone does work, albeit without the remote on-off switch because there's nowhere to plug it in, I found you get the best results with an electret condenser microphone, such as the kind typically used with computers, such as this GE PC microphone, or even one of these old beige ones from the 90s. This is a test of recording my voice to tape, first using the built-in microphone, and now using the external GE microphone. And while using this to record music may not give you the best quality, it couldn't be any easier. Just copy your music files to a USB drive or micro SD card, and start the tape recorder recording, and then play the music. Now I'll give you a direct hookup sample of what that sounds like using a track you may recognize. Checking the recording level with a proper cassette deck, it peaks at around -3 dB. Of course you want to see what's inside, so after removing the screws from the bottom, the top easily comes off, revealing the contents. The cassette mechanism identifies itself as a JZ11, and peeking underneath it, I was able to confirm it does have a metal flywheel. And now you get easy access to adjust the azimuth with this little screw right here. And the motor is a 6-volt Mabuchi clone. The circuitry is thoroughly modern with all surface mount components, and it looks like everything unplugs for easy servicing. And the main chip on the board, which does all the digital stuff like MP3 playback, is a JL AS26BP2X935 made by Zhuhai Geely Technology Company Limited. That explains why the folder it creates is named JL Rec. But I don't see any AC bias oscillator coil, which means it is using DC bias recording. And it has a 4 ohm 3 watt speaker. And there's the speed adjustment trimmer, easy to get to while you're playing a tape, but in my case it sounds like it's playing at the correct speed, so let's check that. The speed is about 0.4% fast, which is close enough that you wouldn't notice it, and the wow and flutter is just below 0.2% WRMS, which is actually really good for this type of cassette recorder. In case you can't tell, I'm impressed by this new Philips cassette recorder. No, it's not audiophile quality, but it was never meant to be. The problem is, if you're watching this, you're probably in a country where you can't buy one, at least not through official sales channels. Luckily, you can buy the same thing, just without the Philips logo on it. The CR669 portable recorder and cassette player. It's available in black and white, and both the box and the product itself are completely unbranded. Here in the US, you can get it on Amazon for around $42 as the Gracioso cassette tape converter to MP3 via UDisc SD card or PC record to cassettes, USB SD card via mic, cassette to digital tape player with headphone jack retractable handle. The circuitry, motor, and speaker are all identical to what's in the Philips, and actually there is one connection that's soldered. That's the one going to the tape head. And in this case, the mechanism is an LY-F, another one of those Tanishan clones. This time I pulled out the mechanism so you can see it has a metal flywheel and a clutch. So when you're rewinding or fast forwarding and it reaches the end of the tape, the mechanism just freewheels. Not like the really cheap ones where they just rely on the belt slipping to keep it from damaging your tape. This is a better design. And testing the Gracioso, the speed is just above 1% fast, but the wow and flutter is similar to the Philips at around 0.2%. The one notable difference between this and the Philips is that it comes with a copy of Audacity on one of these little 3-inch mini CDs, and the manual claims that by using this special supplied male-to-male USB cable, you can connect it directly to a computer and use it to digitize your tapes instead of plugging in a USB drive, which I didn't think was even possible, so I gotta give that a try. Hey, look at that, it actually works. Huh, I never knew. It works on the Philips as well, although it looks like it's clipping quite a bit, and that's after I turned down the recording level, so it must be clipping internally in the analog to digital converter, which is not ideal. When I digitize the same tape in the device itself, it doesn't show any signs of that clipping. Whether you get one with the Philips logo on it or without, these new cassette recorders have a few minor quirks and limitations, but no major showstoppers. They work well, sound good, and make it stupidly simple to both convert your tapes to digital files and to convert your digital files to tapes. And Philips, if you're watching this, why not introduce this cassette recorder in Western markets? Unlike some of the products you've been selling lately, I do think it's worthy of the legacy of your brand name and the fact that you invented this whole format.
So good luck and good words to you.
Thank you for listening to How to Write Better Memos, Reports, and Letters. We hope you'll start using the methods and techniques you've learned on this tape right away, and that you'll play it over and over again when you need a refresher.